This year has been a very challenging year, but an exciting year because we were able to launch our new strategic plan. We didn't know when we were designing the new plan that we were going to be in a pandemic, but it shows us that our direction is solid because we've been able to stay true to that direction regardless of the pandemic. Normally, we would have a lot more face-to-face and experiential learning, so we had to boil it down to what was essential for students, and clearly our applied parts of our programs needed to be face-to-face. They wanted their faculty member in front of them so that when they were learning, they could ask questions, they could interact.
It was challenging at first to be in the classroom online for so long, but with the lab being implemented into it a couple days a week, definitely made the experience a lot better. If you were struggling with anything, they would always tell you just ask for help, and that made it a lot easier.
Being in the aerospace, manufacturing, engineering, technology program, I was always surrounded by very helpful teachers, the most advanced equipment that you could really hope for when you're going to college, and endless opportunities of getting to apply what I was learning in the theory classroom into a lab classroom as well.
When you reach clinical, it really sets everything in stone, and everything starts to make sense, what you've learned in theory and lab. You start to go, okay, this makes sense now, and oh, this is why I would do this, and this is how somebody would react if I were to do something like this. It was very humbling being with the frontline workers. Being a part of their team and being with them, it was a great experience. It was a little scary at first, but Confederation College made it a lot easier with the new rules they put in place. We had our masks on, and we always kept our goggles on. We always made sure we were doing our PPE correctly.
I think our greatest achievement this year was our response to COVID and what we did to keep people safe. We implemented screening mechanisms immediately. We implemented software to track who was on campus and be able to make sure that we could track anyone down and make sure that we monitored who was coming to campus and that only essential people were coming here that needed to be on campus.
Having to move into my second year into the Tech Hub was a great experience. The second I walked down that hallway, you could just tell how much more open the spaces were. The equipment that I got to use was very helpful during my college studies because that very much applied to what I'm doing now and gave me that experience that was needed to get the job that I'm doing now. So when it comes to these people donating money to our program, the Tech Campaign, I'm very thankful for it. Not only are they providing students with leading edge learning in the classroom, but they are also working on growing the manufacturing industry in Thunder Bay. Students like me that graduate knowing this equipment, we are able to take that knowledge, and as we go into the industry, we can evolve the places that we work, or maybe some of us will go and create our own business to fill those gaps and to keep jobs from going to Toronto and keep them here in Thunder Bay.
We've actually accomplished a lot considering the time that we're living in. Within the Neegonewan Research Centre, we've recently acquired the applied research side of the college, where we're going to be looking at sustainability as a key priority, and certainly working with Indigenous communities and Northern First Nations. The Decolonization Committee has completed its report and has completed recommendations for implementation in the college to look at systemic racism and anti-Indigenous racism. We've in some ways overcome some of the hurdles about having those difficult conversations, and it will give us a roadmap as to how we can implement substantive change in the organization. But we're also looking at a cultural shift in terms of how we work together, in terms of the vocabulary, the language, and the scale with which we can navigate those conversations and improve our relationship significantly. So I see that as a significant achievement this past year.
we're looking forward to the future because things will get back to normal and we will be able to have more people on campus, and that will be great. But in the meantime, we know we can do it, and we know that our students can be successful too. So I have to give kudos to everybody from, our cleaners to our support staff and our faculty to our Board of Governors to have all supported the college in making this year a successful year.